Hello, I'm Danny Koontz. Welcome to another episode of FM Corner. Today, we're going to talk about RPP. And you go, what's RPP? It's how you manage stuff. It's reactive, it's preventative, or it's proactive. Most companies usually look at it those three ways: how they make their decisions and how they manage, especially in equipment replacement or upgrades, things like that. And the one that most folks do is reactive. I have a piece of equipment. I run it until it doesn't run anymore. And then when it's done, I pick up the phone and I order a new one and I get it in. That's reactive. You wait until something happens. The reason most people do reactive is they believe that's the best for cost. I don't have to spend any money until I have no option. So the longer I can run that piece of equipment and it still works, I might be putting repair dollars in it, but I'm certainly not putting in new dollars for new equipment. So I will run it until it won't run anymore, and then I'll order a new one. That's typically how most companies operate, and the reason for that is, again, money. Now, the trade-off on that is the side that says when it does go bad and you have to replace it, especially like in today's world, you can't get that piece of equipment quickly. So you may have to pay a premium price to get the fryer, for conversation's sake, that is higher than what you would normally pay because there aren't many, so you've got to pay a premium price to get it. And then you've got to overnight ship it or whatever to get it to your location because that location is short one fryer for every day until you get them the new piece. So while you're saving money by letting it go until it falls apart, sometimes there's a backlash on the other side. A lot of facility folks like yourselves are going through this now and have been over the last year or two with the supply chain and not being able to just pick up the phone to get that piece. So that hurts the reactive program, which is out there. But that's how most companies do it, is let it run for as long a period of time as it will. And then when it goes out, then I order a new one and start. That's reactive. Preventative is, on the maintenance side, I'm looking at a piece of equipment and I'm going to go ahead and make a plan that at some point that piece of equipment is probably going to die. And I'm doing an estimate based on fact, based on history, depreciation, anything like that to kind of decide when that time's going to be. And I'm doing it based off really my experience. So I'm setting my budgets and I'm making my list of these are the pieces of equipment that I feel are at the end of their life. And rather than wait for them to go out, I'm going to go ahead and get them in the pipeline and get them ordered. And I'm going to change them out, even though when I change them out of the building, they may technically be working. Their life is probably not going to be long. So you're anticipating what's going to happen and you're using experience based on age, based on the location. The reason I say that is based on how well you think the equipment's been taken care of. You know, a well-maintained set of fryers in a restaurant may last you 10 years. Same set of fryers in a location where the manager doesn't do a very good job at all of maintaining them and boiling them out and doing all the things that need to be done may only last 7 or 8 years. So you have to know a little bit about the location because everything isn't the same. So that is why preventive maintenance is sometimes used. Again, takes a strong facility department, takes a strong history of information in knowing about the particular piece of equipment and what the average timeline is. The other third type of buying that's out there is proactive. And proactive involves not only using your experience, but using data. And having data and reports that are run on those pieces of equipment to go ahead and tell you what needs to be done. It's not you making that decision, or maybe you're with a new company and you don't necessarily have that experience on those pieces of equipment. So they use data and reports to tell you what the percentage and what breakdowns are going to be over the next year, approximately how much and how many dollars that's going to cost you and so on to make that decision. You incorporate that along with your depreciation because, again, anytime you replace a piece of equipment, you hopefully want that depreciation line to run out. Otherwise, that value that still shows on that piece of equipment has to be written off by the company when you replace that piece of equipment. So hopefully you want it to replace after the depreciation that's set has already been used up and there is zero book value for that particular piece. But proactive involves data. Your finance team, if you're to sit down with a finance team, they're always going to go to reactive. And the reason they want reactive is because I don't want to spend money until I have to. Both the proactive method and the preventative method, both of those, finance, even though they like the fact of gathering data and gathering facts, they still don't want to spend the money if they don't have to. So they look toward the reactive program as the one that they promote the most. The other two, sometimes they do. It will depend on the company, but typically finance doesn't want to do that because, again, they want to go down the road as long as they can before they have to replace that particular piece of equipment. So 3 methods. Reactive, run it till it drops, then get a new one. There is preventative, which is using the team, facilities, and experience to help make judgments on timelines of when to replace equipment, get it into the budget, and even take that piece of equipment out, being proactive before that equipment fails and you're left with equipment being down for a few days. Operations loves that. That's one of their favorite. Either one's better than reactive for operations because they don't have to deal with the downtime. And then proactive is not necessarily just using a guess or an educated guess from your facility team, but also using data that helps guide you in that decision. Operations loves that as well because, once again, they're not dealing with downtime. But your finance teams typically have more of an issue of those 2 programs than they do reactive. So learn from your company which is the way to go, what is their preferred method. None of the 3 are wrong. It's just 3 different ways to operate. And then decide that and then make your plan accordingly as you move through the system with whether you're going to wait till it's broken or you're going to use one of the other 2 methods of preventive or proactive to go ahead and make educated decisions on what to do and when to go ahead and do it. That's the story for today. Thank you again for listening. At Windy City, advice is always free, and I look forward to any comments that you may have on any of our episodes. Thank you so much for listening.